right, welcome back, everybody, for a new episode of the Wednesday Watch List. This is my weekly look ahead to the new books and comics coming out this Wednesday, June 26th, 2024. Again, this is my quick rundown of all the books that are already selling at a premium, some variant covers that are coming out, things I'm looking forward to reading, things people are talking about, maybe a secret cover or a secret thank you book that's being released in the stores, things of that nature. These are all the books you should be keeping your eye on when the new books hit shelves this new comic book Wednesday. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing this channel. And if you haven't checked out our Discord, now's your time to come join us and have some good exchanges, and we can share some information, pickups, etc. down there. And if you haven't used Whatnot before, now is your chance. As first-time users get $15 on me to spend on whatever you want with whomever you want. No strings attached. First-time users. Not only will you help the channel, but you get yourself something nice in the form of a free $15 just for signing up and buying something. Anything you want. Nothing else to do after that. That's it. Now, with that all said, before we get into this week's books, I do want to make one special little announcement. I was going to hold off another week or so as I planned and prepped to do this little spinoff, but I am spinning off and doing another channel. Yes, as you guys might know, I am not only a fan of comic books, but I do love my toys. As I've shared with you, my recent Godzilla pickup, and that pickup has reignited my interest in looking at and talking about toys once again. Not only just the nostalgic stuff that I do love from the 70s and the 80s, etc., but also looking ahead at some of the new stuff being released. So I've decided to take another shot and create something new. And in the form of something new, I'm going to revive something old, which is a site that I used to write for way back in the day when I first started doing this, and that is Toy Informer. So I'm going to try to revitalize Toy Informer and create some new content over there, focused mostly on toys, collectibles, video games, etc. Most of the non-comic book stuff that I don't get to focus on here as much as I'd like to. So I figured separation of church and state. We'll separate the interests and create two separate venues for both. So please, I encourage you to, if you enjoy toys, if you enjoy video games, go sub up to the new channel. I will have new stuff coming out on a semi-regular basis. Give me time. It's something new. I'm trying to start it from the ground up. I put some of the old videos over there, but it's going to take time for me to really get that one going while also maintaining the content that you guys know and love here. I'm not going to abandon this channel, obviously. I'm just trying to do something else new as a little side project, a little pet project. So come support me over there as well as, again, starting from the ground up. I think as of today, I have all of 10 subscribers, and one of them is me as Rennavision. So with that said, let's see how long this takes us to go and make something special. With that all said, now we can get into this week's books. All you got to do is hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, let's just get right into it. I apologize, members. I didn't get this out to you early like I normally do on Sundays, but this weekend, not only was it a busy weekend as far as my son's schedule with swim and football goes, but I was kicking around, working on this new Toy Informer channel. So please forgive me. Everybody's going to get this at the same time, and next week I'll try to get you that early drop that you're used to. But for now, let's get right into my personal picks. These are the books that I am looking forward to first and foremost, things that I think you should be paying attention to when you go to your shop first. Now, first book is DC's big summer event is kicking off. They seem to be a little bit late to the party, as Blood Hunt, as you know, is well, into its run, maybe even nearing its end. And DC is starting to kick off Absolute Power. I'm a little lukewarm on this. I will admit that, just because I feel like we've already seen the Justice League versus Amanda Waller battle once before. Like, how is this going to be different than JLA versus Suicide Squad, which we had a few years ago? Hopefully they prove me wrong, and hopefully they do some interesting twists in this. But we are starting off here not only with some other preview issues, which we'll talk about later on in the show, but this Absolute Power Ground Zero 1 is sort of a kickoff event book to get us right into this summer storyline. Couple of covers here. No big incentives for you to worry about. Just the cover A. You got some B covers and C covers spotlighting, the Lady Brainiac. You got Failsafe. All of these runs of stories that have been going on in Batman with Failsafe, the Brainiac story over in Superman, etc., all coming to a head here for this summer's event. So they did put a lot of time into planning this. So I do appreciate that. But as I said, Amanda Waller is the big bad. I've seen it before. Let's hope they do something new and interesting with it. But in addition to these three covers, we also have another regular issue cover as well as a foil version of that cover A. So once I said, no incentives on this particular book, so get whichever cover you like and give it a read, because that's what I plan to do when this drops, actually Tuesday. So I know we always build around New Comic Book Wednesday, but as you know, Lunar and DC, they're dropping their stuff on Tuesday still, though I heard that might change soon. But until they do, you can get this on Tuesday and give it a read. Up next, I love the Energon universe, G.I. Joe, Transformers, etc. And Void Rivals may be the least interesting, only because I don't have the nostalgic connection. But I am still interested in this story and still looking forward to see where it's going. So we have issue 10 of this initial run coming out with a few covers. So I am looking forward to picking this up again with this connection to the Transformers and this larger Energon universe. Cover A, there is also a cover B that you can go and pick up, both open order, as well as these connecting covers. Remember, I mentioned the last few weeks with the Energon universe to celebrate their 1-year anniversary at Skybound. They were doing this big, huge connecting cover mural set, and this is the installment from Void Rivals here. This fits in, again, out of order, as I complained last week, but it still fits in and completes that set if you wanted to get all four from G.I. Joe, Transformers, it was Transformers, Scarlet, Destro, and now Void Rivals. So you had those. We were missing the one piece in the middle following Destro, coming in there at the end. We were missing that Void Rivals. So a little out of order, but it's finally here, our Void Rivals book. And there is also a black and white version if you want that as well. There you go, with the whole image. Pretty cool either way if you like that kind of thing. I like connecting covers, but I think I would prefer the color over the black and white personally. But, dealer's choice. You pick what you like. On top of those open order, regular priced variants or, regular cover price books, you can also get the incentives for Void Rivals, which include a 1 in 10, a 1 in 25, and a 1 in 50. Now, most of these are selling just around ratio. So the 1 in 10 is around $10, 1 in 25 is around $25, and the 1 in 50 is around $50. That's what I mean when I say right around ratio, because the ratio incentive is how many books shops had to order to qualify to get one copy of that cover. So that's why they're more expensive, because there aren't as many to go around. Because if a shop has to order 50 regular covers of Void Rivals, they can also order 5 of the 1 in 10s, 2 of the 1 in 25s, and 1 of the 1 in 50. See what we're getting at here? That's why they're more expensive. That's for the newer collectors out there. I got to remember there are a lot of newer faces to the hobby these days, and I don't want to ignore them and talk over their heads with jargon that most of us already know. So forgive me for that. We also have a continuation of the 1 in 10s that Skybound's been doing on all of their books. All of the miniseries from Scarlet to Duke to Cobra Commander, all the 1 in 10s have had these connecting covers. Transformers, each arc has had connecting cover sets. Same thing with Void Rivals. Arc 2 here connects so far with issue 7, 8, 9, and now 10. Still building out as this arc continues, but you can see how these form one larger image for these 1 in 10s, which again, I think is a fun little add-on and makes those 1 in 10s a little more unique than what could just be a forgotten about variant that nobody pays attention to. Now, another thing for this week is that last week I talked about a number of books that didn't actually get released. They were delayed for one reason or another. I don't know if this was planned and they didn't tell me, because again, I'm not a retailer. I was just going off of what was supposed to be released last week. So some books didn't come out last week, but they're coming out this week. Starting off with G.I. Joe Real American Hero 307. So I already talked about it last week, but it's actually coming out this week. So some of you might have saved money, like myself last week, now have a big week ahead of them because all those extra books are all coming out now. But we'll deal with that later. 307's got a pretty awesome Destro and Baroness cover here. There is a black and white version for the B cover, as well as a 1 in 10 incentive if you want it, featuring CoverGirl, and it looks like Firefly there in the background. Pretty cool. You can find the 1 in 10 right around that ratio mark again. Maybe as cheap as like $8, maybe as high as like $13. Nothing that's going to break your back. It's right around that ratio mark. If you want to go and pick it up, you probably can do so on the relative affordable, nature of it. With that said, the next book I'm interested in getting, just to really put this into read. This is also kind of like a personal pick, as well as also a possible investment opportunity for you, because it seems to be a hit with readers, and that is Grommets out of Image. This is by Rick Remender and Brian Posehn, if I'm saying his name right. The big dude Bert from The Big Bang Theory. He's written for a lot of comedy shows, etc., but he's also helping write this skateboarder throwback nostalgia book that everybody seems to be enjoying. So issue 1 came out just last month, and a couple of those covers are doing a little bit better now after a few weeks. The 1 in 10 in particular, I see, has started to creep up. But this book here has a cover A as well as a 1 in 10, and that is it. Not a lot of options here as far as covers go for issue 2, which is interesting. Usually with these books, there's like 3 or 4 at least. You saw what Void Rivals has. Here we only got 2. And despite that, we only had 1 pre-sale for this book, and it was all of only $8. But there's only 1 listed right now, and they want $40. So we'll see where this one kind of falls. Don't let 1 sale sway you, and don't let 1 listed sway you. We don't know where the market's going to end up on this one yet, but it is worth watching, which is why it's on the watch list, so we can see what happens, because pre-sales don't mean everything, but they are an interesting indicator of what some books might do when they actually hit shelves on this upcoming Wednesday. So this, I think, will be one to watch how this performs on the aftermarket. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. I suggest you do as well. And if you can secure yourself a copy for cheap, it might be a good idea, because I don't know how many of these are going to be out there or how much interest there's going to be, because as I said, some of those variants for issue 1 are starting to gain a little bit of steam now. With that said, we are getting the final issue of X-Men 97. This little mini-series arc, I believe, is ending with issue 4 here. We have a cover A. We also have a cover B that I'm sharing here. Some of these books might also have other covers that we will talk about in later segments. So if I missed something, don't worry. I didn't forget about it. It's just we're going to see it a little bit later. And this book, I believe, has a Scotty Young variant, so we'll get to that later. But as far as what's not Scotty Young and not the Scotty Young 1 in 50, you got these 2 options here for your X-Men 97 final issue. I just want to read this again because I was a huge fan of the cartoon, the animated series that just ended. And this is a nice little add-on to kind of help scratch that itch, because we still have a little bit of a wait before we get season 2. So, yeah, it's nice to have this. Maybe we'll get another mini-series at some point. Hopefully it was successful enough to warrant that. But interesting, fun little read, and it should be wrapping up here. Also, for me as an X-Men homer, I will admit I will read most of these X books no matter what they decide to put out, and then, slow down and ease off after a while. But I'll give just about every X book a try. And last couple weeks, or I think it was a couple weeks ago, we did have X-Men Heir to the Apocalypse #1. I wasn't in love with all the options they had for the possible heir, but the story was interesting enough, and we are going to continue it on here with issue 2. And as you can see there on the cover, it is no longer a spoiler that from the Age of Apocalypse universe, the character of Genocide, originally known as Holocaust, is here right there on the cover, as he was the original heir to Apocalypse as Apocalypse's son in that alternate reality. So let's see how he deals with all of these other X options that we have in the mix. But cover A there, as well as a B cover. And then we also have a 1 in 25 incentive, which, again, it's not doing too much. If you want one, you can find it for under ratio. I've seen copies listed for like $15, so it is affordable if you want one. Now, we're going to mix up the normal order of things. From here, I usually go into my reading pile. But as you already know, I already want to read this stuff, and this next bit is more stuff I want to read. So I was going to put it in this pick section, but it felt more natural. It's got its own segment. Why am I going to separate issue 4 of Blood Hunt from the Blood Hunt segment? I got a whole segment for Blood Hunt, so why am I pulling those books from it? So we're just going to go right into it now, as we are getting issue 4 of the miniseries, 4 of 5, only 1 more issue, the penultimate issue here, issue 4, Blood Hunt. Cover A, we got multiple covers here as well with a Peach Momoko, and you got the teeth one. I don't know what these teeth variants we should be calling them, but we had Tigra, and we had Dracula, and we had Blade. Now we got Vision. Still don't get how Vision's a vampire, but we got Vision. And we also have some variants, including a 1 in 10 Delato, a 1 in 100 Delato, which is a virgin version of that 1 in 10, and a 1 in 25 wedged in between that we can talk about now. Those Delatos, both the 1 in 10s and the 1 in 100s connect. I'm only going to show you the virgin versions, but you get the idea. Here are the 4 issues together so far. We have 1 more to go. They will form one large image. So pick those up at your pleasure, if that's what you like. And yeah, the 1 in 10s are probably affordable, while the 1 in 100s are pretty darn pricey. None of them are really doing above ratio yet. They all seem to be about ratio or less, like the 1 in 100s around like 80, 90 bucks. 1 in 10s around like 8 to 10 bucks, etc. And then we also have for this book a 1 in 200 incentive, which is a virgin version of that other cover option there in the middle. With that, we've had 1 pre-sale and 1 listed right now for this 1 in 200 to give us a sense of what this could do when it's released this week. 1 pre-sale getting $250, an asking price of about $280, so a little bit above that 1 in 200 ratio. We'll see if that sticks or if this falls apart or if any sell, because who knows how many shops are going to have a 1 in 200 available or how many are going to get listed on eBay for us to track. Because again, I'm using eBay as a tracking method because that's the easiest one to use. It's visible to all. We all can see the sales history. We all have access to all the same information. I have no way to know what you're going to buy at your actual shop. That's not tracked in any way. So we can't talk about that. Or I can't talk, intelligently to that. So I rely on what I can see on eBay as one indicator for what we're discussing here. So just to clear that up. And we do have the red band cover as well coming out, which is polybagged and is going to cost you $1 extra. So the Blood Hunt issue 4 is getting that treatment as well. I think it's like $6 to get the polybag red brand version. Those early ones were a little tougher. I think orders went up as people started adopting and buying into this, more expensive option, particularly because of the incentive variants that were pretty hot from the get-go. At this point, the 1 in 25, which is a fun homage again to the old school EC horror days. In this case, issue 4 is a classic homage to Tales from the Crypt 28, as you can see there. Pretty well done, pretty good matchy there. But orders are kind of up now. Like, this is no longer taking anyone by surprise. Even though issue 1 shouldn't have taken anybody by surprise, as it was noted and talked about well before it was, FOC and etc. Issue 2 also became hot. Issue 3 followed suit a little bit, but cooled off a tiny bit. Let's see how issue 4 does. But so far, issue 4, the 1 in 25, has had some early pre-sales of about 80 to about 120. So yeah, it's still doing well above ratio. Asking prices, though, it's a little more interesting to see that there are still like $90 options, whereas the earlier variants were all starting, in excess of $100. So again, we'll see where this lands, but even current options as cheap as 80, 130 is around where most of them are at, about 120, 130. And then you got the occasional outlier looking for a little bit more, up to say like 180, which we know some of the earlier variants hit there, but none of them are really sticking there too well. I would say 1 and 2 are pulled down a little bit. They're closer to like 150, maybe 140. You see a few sales higher, etc. But some of these have come down just a tiny bit. Still very expensive, though. Don't make it. I'm not trying to make it sound like $150 for 1 in 25 isn't expensive, because it is. So they are still pretty expensive, but not near their heights, where a couple of these were trading near $300 for a stretch. But with that all said, let's move on to more of the Blood Hunt stuff. If you are enjoying all of the side spin-off stuff, we still have Midnight Suns issue 2 for that mini series rolling out with a couple of covers. We got an A and then we got a B here that we can look at. Union Jack issue 2 is also coming out this week. I like this read as well. It was kind of fun with sort of a, I don't want to say 28 days later vibe, but it had a kind of like a zombie apocalypse. Hey, let's get a group of survivors together kind of vibe, because that's where the story went with Union Jack and these housing event. It's an interesting story. I don't want to give all of it away, and even though there's only been 1 issue and you've had like a month to read it, so it really shouldn't be spoiling anything. But issue 2 is coming out this week, so we'll see where this one goes with a cover A and a cover B here as well. We're also getting a tie-in with Vengeance of Moon Knight. I know I'd said before I was not going to mention all the tie-ins, but Vengeance of Moon Knight is a pretty close tie-in, considering the Midnight The Midnight Mission crew have a couple of vampires on the squad, and they were part of the lead into Blood Hunt. So this is kind of an important tie-in. I'm only getting to show you one cover here because the other covers fall in other segments. So we'll get to those later. But we are also kicking off another mini-series tie-in, this time out with Magic. So X-Men Magic #1, this one-shot, is coming out as we get to deal with how Magic and Limbo will deal with this vampire infestation. So we have a cover A here. You've got a Peach Momoko, as well as I forget who did the one in the middle. I'm just drawing a blank on the artist's name, but that one is also a virgin version for a 1 in 50. So keep your eye on that too, because early sales could go somewhere. It's a little bit above ratio, hanging around that ratio mark, as we've got pre-sales around $50 to $55, asking prices around $50, as high as 90. We'll see what happens with this one, but Magic and Magic covers have always been one of those special cases where any one of them could hit just because of the art alone if collectors decide they really like it. So always got to be prepared for that. It's just one of those things. Regardless of what's inside this book, Magic could move this cover on her own. Now, because we're talking about Blood Hunt, I'm also shifting the order and talking about later prints next. Why am I doing that? Because we are getting more second prints for this Blood Hunt event. You remember last week we had over half a dozen. Well, we got a few more, as Amazing Spider-Man's miniseries for number part 1 of 3, also getting the second print treatment where the covers basically just read it out. The regular issue of Amazing Spider-Man that tied in with issue 49, it's not really an integral part that you need to read, but they are releasing a second print, so if you missed it, here's your chance. And we get the Venom tie-in as well with issue 33 with that classic homage to Amazing Spider-Man digging himself out of the grave during Kraven's Last Hunt. So there you go. That's why we've moved later prints up a little bit, because we can just tie into this Blood Hunt stuff and wrap it up before moving on to other business, including X-Men 97, which is giving us a third print animation cover for issue 1, as well as a blank, because we need a third print blank. I know these are great for people who like to get sketches done at cons. It's just the decision to make them on later prints is kind of odd to me. Like, why didn't I think of this with the first print? But whatever. But a third print animation cover could be interesting. As you saw, the animation covers for the earlier issues and the second printings did quite well for issues 1 and 2. So we'll see what happens with issue 3. But it is sideways. I hate it when they do images like that sideways on the cover. Personally, it's just annoying, but that's what we're getting. Along with a few more second prints that have incentive books. Again, I'm going to try not to complain as I do every week, but we seem to be getting these every week, so it keeps causing me to have to complain because I have to keep talking about them. This week, we have 3. Well, actually, technically 4. But before we get there, let's start with the first one. Ultimate X-Men. Hasn't quite captured me completely yet. I'm kind of half in, half out. Just not loving the storyline. Feel like it's moving a little too slow for my taste. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'm still keep riding this out, but Ultimate X-Men issue 2 is getting the second print treatment with this Peach Momoko cover. It's I think it's new art because this actually connects, which we'll get to in a second. But this book also has a 1 in 25 incentive. So the 1 in 25 incentive is just a virgin version of one of the other Peach Momoko covers from before. And we'll see how this decides to do in the aftermarket. But early returns are one pre-sale of about $40, while there's one out there asking $100. Then we also have the second print for issue 3 also coming out this week, because they're just not holding back. They're just throwing these at us. And as I mentioned, this is connecting with that that issue 2 second print cover as well. So if you like connecting covers, here's a cheap one you can put together just this week by picking up both of these reprints. Bang, boom. So we'll see if they continue this out with any more books, but so far these are the only 2 I'm aware of, as we are only a few issues into this series anyway. But with that all said, issue 3 is also getting an incentive, 1 in 25, which is also just reusing art we've already seen before. And without any pre-sales, we do have one listed and seeking about $100. Will it get that? We will see. That's why it's on the watch list, because some of these incentives, as we saw last week, with Spider-Woman 7, the second print, 1 in 25. That one did quite well. Some of these hit and do a little bit better than others. Some of them just get a few extra bucks because people buy them for one reason or another, and then we never hear from them again. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But we are still not done, as we still have the Ultimates #1. Also didn't love this read yet either. This one was kind of so-so as well. But I'm still going to give this Ultimate Universe a try. It started out hot. It was blazing at first. Now it's kind of cooled off as far as excitement goes, but I'm still going to still give it a try. But issue 1 has a second print. If you missed out, there is a 1 in 25 incentive for this one as well, which again is sort of reusing the John Tyler Christopher negative space art, except adding like a tech pattern to the empty space. So it is sort of still a negative space, but not completely, a little bit different. But it's a 1 in 25 incentive with no pre-sales as of yet, but one listed and asking a whopping $130. So we will see if that price gets met or if any copies actually sell for above ratio. But as of now, we got no pre-sales to point to. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and if that's not enough for you, as I mentioned, we kind of have 4. We do have a facsimile this week. A facsimile of my boy Godzilla. Again, right back here. Go check out Toy Informer. We'll talk more toys there. But Godzilla, King of the Monsters #1 is getting a facsimile reprint. So if you can't find yourself a nice copy of that original 1977 comic and don't feel like paying those exorbitant prices, you can get yourself a nice new facsimile version for all of $5 or whatever the cover price is. Or if you want one shiny, you can pay a couple of bucks extra and get a shiny foil one too. And if you're really looking to spend extra money, you might as well just get the original. But if you don't want the original and you want something new, get new cover art on a facsimile reprint. Again, not going to get into it. But here's a 1 in 25 on the facsimile reprint with new art by Mark Bagley in this case that you can look towards. Early pre-sales on this one are right around ratio. They're really only around 25 to 30 bucks. You see that one sales for 55 comes with the other 2 covers, but you're still paying about the same. Asking prices are around 30. And again, if you want the whole set for 55, you get one of each. Up to you what you want to do there with that information, but it's just my job to present it to you. With that said, we will finally get to my reading list, which is once again a little extensive. I like to read books. What can I say? With that, we get back to those books that I thought were coming out last week that didn't come out that we're getting now, like Feral #4. So I've said it before, enjoying this sort of take on zombies and rabies with the cats. I think it's pretty fun. I want to see how this wraps up. Issue 4 is coming out now. I think we're almost near the end now. So issue 4 of Feral comes out this week with a B cover that is a 28 Days Later homage, which is pretty cool, as well as incentives, which are a 1 in 10 version and a 1 in 25 version as well. Again, ratio or less if you want to go and buy them. Nothing really to speak about as far as early pre-sales, but definitely want to give it a read. Just like the Ghost Machine stuff that's coming out this week. We got Red Coat issue 3, which again, I thought was last week, but it's coming out this week. We got a cover A as well as a cover B. And this also has the 1 in 50 incentive foil that they've been doing throughout this series. So if you really want to spend the extra, get yourself a shiny foil version on the 1 in 50. I just want to read the regular, so I'll probably just get a cover A and be done with it. See where Albert Einstein has taken our boy Simon Pure, and we learn a little bit more about this, about this storyline and his affliction, I guess you would call it. With that said, the other book, which is coming out this week, is Rook Exodus, which is probably my favorite of the Ghost Machine titles. I don't know, it's kind of still like a little bit of a Battle Beast vibe just because of the helmets. I don't know. I know that's not exactly what Battle Beast is about. I mean, that's kind of a mix between Battle Beast, maybe a little bit of Visionaries. But point being, I think it was kind of an interesting take. You got these characters, these people that were kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Terraforming. They're terraforming a new planet and controlling all of particular types of animals. These people were like this, controlling the ravens, and we had a bear dude, you had a pig dude, you had a lady controlling the wolves. There's like monster-sized animals at that. It's weird. It's interesting. Sci-fi. I'm into it. Looking forward to see where they're going. Issue 3 coming out this week with a cover A, a cover B. as well as a 1 in 50 foil on that cover B on this one, actually. So if you want the shiny one, get yourself the shiny one. Just got to pay a little extra. Also, even though I've admitted it, this is like month after month. I keep putting it here on my reading list, and I haven't been reading them because I'm so far behind. But I will catch up one of these days. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but sometime soon. Monstrous, still rolling on with issue 52. Gorgeous cover. It's a great run. This is going to be something we all look back on fondly once it's all wrapped up. But issue 52 is here, and I will catch up soon enough. We also get, I think, the final installment for this arc of World Tree with issue 11. Tinian's given us, I think, the wrap-up issue here. I think the first one went 5 issues. This one went 6. Or was it vice versa? But the final issue, regardless of this arc, is coming out with the cover A. There's also a B cover, and then a couple of incentives, too, if you are interested in those as well, with a 1 in 10 and a 1 in 25. Again, nothing really doing as far as pre-sales go on those, but I'm just noting them here in case you are interested. I didn't get a chance to check out issue 1, but it is right up my alley, so I'm going to give it a blind shot that I'm going to read issue 2 along with issue 1, and that is William of Newbury. I'm giving a lot of credence to the fact that this is written by Michael Avon Oeming, and I like what he's done in the past, powers, etc. You got the Viking stuff too, and anthropomorphic, or however you say it. The animals here standing in with the plague and the ghosts, etc. The old timey thing. I don't know. I'm interested. So I'm going to read issues 1 and 2 together. I am going to do that this week. So yeah, that's why it's in the reading pile, because I'm meaning to do it. I have it sitting around issue 1. I'll just grab issue 2 on the blind and just read them both together, because I got a good feeling that I'm going to enjoy this. So I will do that for certain creators. I will give them that benefit of the doubt and get that second issue before I even see the first issue. With that said, I also feel like I got to catch up on Detective, but Ram V has been killing it here on the Detective run, and we're getting another installment here. I love this cover with the bats and the teeth. It's creepy as hell. I dig it. And there are a few cool covers on this issue of Detective. This is what? Issue 1086. Wow. 1086. We're 86 issues beyond that milestone 1000th issue. Doesn't seem that way, right? But, man, time flies. As I mentioned, there's some other cool covers here, including this gorgeous one with looks like a weeping angel from Doctor Who. Love that. Love that look. And then, yeah, not a bad cover over there on the C. And then the 1 in 25 is pretty solid as well, where you got almost like a statued Batman with the spray paint and the Joker smile. It's cool looking. I dig it. But yeah, so a couple of cool covers there, and definitely got to catch up on my reading on Detective. Again, I'll admit when I can't keep up. This is one I haven't kept up. And I'll also admit when I put things down. And despite the fact that I put this series down, I'm going to go and finish it up, because it is finishing up and wrapping up so we can get into Absolute Power, and that is the House of Brainiac. Again, I wasn't loving the story. They had me early on because I like Brainiac, and then it was just kind of a little too slow. I'm going to finish this up, catch up, and wrap this up, because they are wrapping up the story. So even though I thought they were throwing everything in the kitchen sink in there, let's throw some Caesarians in there, and we got the Brainiac and all the different Brainiacs we got laying around. I'll wrap it up and see where we're at. So putting this in the pile to read this week, 1066 on Action. Multiple covers here as well. Grab the one that you like if you are interested. All of them are pretty decent. And there is a interesting 1 in 25 with Lobo on the cover and this weird sci-fi little diner angle aspect, whatever you want to call it. I just don't dig the hair. The hair looks dumb. That's the only complaint I have about this cover. Other than that, if the hair didn't look goofy, I would think this was a winner. But the hair does, in fact, look a little bit goofy to me. And just like Action, I had also put down Superman for the last couple of issues because, again, I wasn't loving what they were doing. But I got to wrap it up now. I'm only missing like the last 2 parts. So it's not like I'm far behind. I just kind of skipped an issue or 2. So just going to catch up and read Superman 15, also leading us into Absolute Power. So multiple covers here with Superman. We got that Swaby in the middle. All these classic looks, but they all kind of look the same, which is kind of a bummer. Like, I don't know, though. I think the point of doing variant covers is you give a lot of different flavors so different collectors can collect the types of covers that they want. But these all seem pretty similar. But With that said, the 1 in 25 is a little bit different. You got the little 4 panels telling a story, kind of cool. So if you're interested, that's like 10 to 15 bucks. You can get one of these 1 in 25. So definitely not expensive if you want to go and buy one. We are also getting, and I know you're going to laugh that I'm going to read this, but I'm pretty sure you guys voting are going to make me read this anyway. I was kind of curious. I am curious. I'll admit it. I read the first issue of Helverine. The twist was interesting enough that I want to see where we're going with issue 2. So I'm going to read issue 2 of Helverine. I know I made fun of this character. I thought it was a dumb idea to begin with, but it's okay. We can read dumb things. There's sometimes you need a palate cleanse. You can't read all the deep stuff all the time. Sometimes you need a dumb little book to read, and this could be that dumb little book following the new Helverine with issue 2. We got a couple of covers here. You got a beat cover that you can look for. We'll have a couple of those we can get in the later segments coming up soon, but there is also a 1 in 25, which ain't bad if you are interested there. Also not doing too much above, ratio, so it's right around that ratio mark if you want to go and buy one. I mentioned the Ultimate Universe is kind of like slowed down. Ultimate Black Panther was just been kind of mid. It's just really not doing I don't know. It's just not doing too much for me. But I'm going to keep reading it because I'm going to give hope that they're going to do something new and different with this title. As we have issue 5 coming. So let's see. Let's see where we're going here. Multiple covers as well. Pick the one that you like. There's Boss Logic in there. You got a Clayton Crane as well. And then I think it's Torrin Clark giving us the 1 in 25. I think it's Torrin Clark on that one. So yeah, if you want it, ratio or less still. Now, this week, last week, I think it was Breyer I mentioned was something I was going to check it out. This week, I got something different that I'm going to check it out because I will admit to something that will probably surprise some of you. As you guys know, I love the 80s and all the throwback stuff. Well, 70s and 80s because I was technically born late 70s, but consider myself an 80s kid because that's the decade I really grew up as a child and all my toys, etc. Point being, this series and this show property was never really mine. I just never really connected with it. And that is Gotcha Man. I don't know. It just never really hooked me. I like Voltron and that kind of stuff. It's just something about Gotcha Man just never really got me. So I never really connected much to it. I know of the characters and all that, but it just wasn't my thing. That's all. But I'm going to check this out. We got a new series coming. A couple of cool covers here out of Mad Cave. Here's a cover A. B and a blank and I think a connecting cover there in the middle, at least a part of a connecting cover. We'll see where it goes with future issues, but we do have a pretty awesome 1 in 10, which I think is pretty sweet. I like this one. It's the pink, really pops. This one could also do well as far as the market goes. Early indications are this could be a little bit of a tough one to get with, copies best offer on 15, but then there's $20, $25 sales or 1 in 10. 1 in 10, mind you. But it's the asking prices, 15 to 25, 25. I saw some as high as like 40 bucks out there too, but by and large, you can get it around above ratio, maybe double ratio or more. We'll see. We'll see where this one goes. I think it's interesting, so I'm going to definitely keep an eye on it. And they aren't stopping there with just this single issue of Gotcha Man that Colin Bunn is restarting, but they're giving us this Gotcha Man Ken Deathmatch series as well. Tommy Lee Edwards doing this. And then we got a cover A, and then we got a Breakfast Club homage, which is pretty cool, as well as a Mike Diodato cover, which ain't bad either. So get what you like. Pretty good Breakfast Club, if you ask me. And I'm a big fan of that movie. And while the homages usually aren't great, this one's not bad. This one kind of fits, so it's all right. No incentive here, but if you want to go directly to Mad Cave store, there is a web store exclusive cover that you can go and buy. I don't cover store exclusives, but I don't consider a book directly from the publisher in the same way. So I'm not like pushing some comic book dealer that's a friend or anything like that to push the variants that they're buying. This is directly from the publisher, so I don't mind sharing that the web store has a copy that you can go and buy if you're interested. IDW does this as well. So Mad Cave's giving you this for this Ken Gotcha Man book. And we actually do have an IDW book that has a web store exclusive we'll get to in a little bit in this next segment, which is new number ones. So let's keep rolling on and see if we can get through this because I feel like I'm starting to lose my voice already. New number ones. Self-Help was supposed to come out last week and it didn't. So it's coming out this week. Everything still maintains the same. Still want to check this out. This down on his luck rideshare driver apparently looks just like this self-help guru, and I guess there's a little confusion, switcheroo, California noir. I'm getting like kiss kiss bang bang kind of vibes out of this. I'll give it a read. It seems interesting enough, so I'll probably give this one a try. Couple of covers here with an A cover and a B cover, and then a couple of incentives too with a 1 in 15 and a 1 in 25. So again, get what you like. And Dark Horse is also giving us a comic series for the Anansi Boys. Neil Gaiman's, based off of Neil Gaiman's novel, I guess. I did listen to the audiobook of this. It was okay. It was okay. I didn't love it. It was interesting enough. I guess I can see them adapting it. So if you want to check it out, that's what we're doing here with a couple of covers here. There's a cover A and then a couple others there. Like I said, listen to the audiobook. It was a little interesting, but we'll see how it converts to comics. Speaking of converting to comics, we do have an adaptation in the form of Resident Alien with this start of a new miniseries here. So Resident Alien giving us issue 1, 1 of 4 here. I believe this was already a comic, and then they made it into a show, and then I don't know if this is just reprinting issues or if this is the new story that's going to be. Oh, let me read what the thing is. Status is now changed. This new series. Yeah, it's a new series, so it's a new comic series. So give it a look-see if you're into it. I hear it's a good show. I haven't checked it out yet. I love Alan Tudyk. I will give it a try, but I just haven't had time. With that said, we also have another Godzilla series starting up. Godzilla, Here They Be Dragons 2, Son of Giants, coming out with a cover A. Yes, again, it's a sequel to the other miniseries where there was Godzilla, it was like pirate ships and all that stuff. It's kind of cool, but we're getting a sequel with A cover, B cover here, as well as a 1 in 10 black and white incentive. We are also getting this, as I read the little synopsis, seems like a comedy knockoff of Die. So Dungeons and Dimwits is the story of a group of friends playing a tabletop role-playing game that are sucked into the game to become their own characters. Like I said, like Die, if you remember the series out of Image, but that was a little bit more serious. This seems a little bit goofier. So a little bit goofier take of Dungeons and Dragons with a cover A as well as a cover B. Give it a try if you're interested. I mentioned IDW, and we're getting a Sonic Spring Broken. So one shot here, Sonic the Hedgehog. They do this all the time with these kind of seasonal specials. So Spring is Sprung. We're getting this one shot with a couple of covers, A cover, B cover, as well as a 1 in 10, and you got Tails right there, as well as a web store exclusive if you want to go directly to IDW and buy that. It's your option. I mentioned Scotty Young before. Apart from his covers that he's doing on those big Little Marvels, he is giving us Little Marvels, the giant size edition. So it's a little story that he does with these little characters. It's a one shot, so they're amazing. There you go. One cover, no incentives, nothing else. If you want it, there's your shot to get it. One book, have at it. We are getting Thanos, an Infinity Watch annual. Not been keeping up with these things. I mentioned that before because all of those Stormbreaker covers with all the Infinity Gem holders, I don't know who everybody is because I haven't been keeping up. But Thanos, the Infinity Watch, is going to tie into that storyline and these new gem holders, etc. So, yeah, pick that up if you're interested. A is not my favorite cover, but there are some interesting ones. There's a Rose Besh. There's a foil cover there on the side. There is another group shot if you're interested there. There's a 1 in 100 on that Rose Besh. That's an incentive cover. Doing all right. It is not the highest ratio. We will get to that higher ratio later in the show soon, but not just yet because we got a bit to talk about that one. But here, interesting in that this is pre-sold for under the ratio mark at about $88. See, everybody's sticking with that 88 price thereabouts. But asking prices are a little bit higher, looking for 110, 175, 190. So we'll see where the two shall meet. Also coming out this week, we are getting a Black Label Zatanna series starting out with Bring Down the House. Curious here. Cover A, not too bad. I'm not reading this huge paragraph. If you want it, you can pause the show and read that yourself. But it's a Black Label series. Zatanna, I think she's working in Vegas as like a magician show. we'll see where it goes. Shenanigans will ensue. Art Germ giving us a cover. We got another variant there as well. There's also a foil version of the Art Germ as well as a blank. And then there are incentives if you're interested too, including a 1 in 25, which kind of reminds me of those poster, the Adam Hughes ones from the original series for her. And then Chuma Hill, not Chuma Hill, Janin doing a 1 in 50 here, which is kind of fun. I dig this one. And this one is actually doing all right to start. So keep an eye out for this 1 in 50. Not doing a ton, but well, actually, it is doing a ton, I should say. I am corrected once I saw the prices. Early pre-sales, $115, $120, $150 on this 1 in 50. Asking prices, $140 to $150. So that one's already up there. So if you can get it for ratio or less, that might be the one to look for this week. Mentioned Big Marvels. Scotty Young covers. I think we're wrapping it up because I think these were for June, and this is the final week of June. So I think this is the last batch. Here we go. Black Widow and Hawkeye. Nice little Black Widow there, as well as a 1 in 50. Daredevil, issue 10 is giving us a Daredevil with a 1 in 50. Jackpot and Black Cat is giving us Jackpot on issue 4 and a 1 in 50. Don't know why anybody needs these 1 in 50s, but they're there. Finally getting Blade on Midnight Suns number 2. And there is a 1 in 50. This is not the Thanos I was talking about. We'll get to that in a second, but there is a Thanos on the Thanos annual here that Scotty Young has done in the form of a big hefty bully kid. I get it. But this is not my favorite picture of Thanos. It's also not the worst picture of Thanos this week. But there is a 1 in 50. We're still not done. A couple more. Vengeance of Moon Knight. So that issue 6 of Vengeance of Moon Knight, you got a Moon Knight cover. The Moon Knights, there's been a couple of good ones that he's done. This one's a little on the blander side, but okay, it is what it is. And there's you guessed it, a 1 in 50. And then our final book, it's probably my favorite of the bunch for this week. That's this pretty awesome Storm on X-Men 97 number 4. And there is a 1 in 50 sketch version there as well. But yeah, the color version is probably my favorite for the week there. Like I said, I'm kind of losing my voice, so I think I need to take a drink. Yeah, filming this during the day, so I'm not actually drinking. We're just going to go with a little bit of Sprite today to lubricate the pipes here. With that said, let's move on to our next segment. We have our Pride covers for the month. Again, June is wrapping up, so this could be the last batch that we have to go through. So with that, we seem to be getting a few extras, at least out of the DC side of things, as they are wrapping up with Action Comics giving us this Steel. Superman also giving us this this version. I like the cape with the flag. I think that's a nice little touch there. What else are we getting? Flash is giving us, I can't remember this character's name. Not Dreamer, because Dreamer was in Suicide Squad. Just cover this character, but I'm drawing a blank. Doesn't matter. Moving on, because I'm trying to get through this. Again, voice is kind of going. Green Arrow, so obviously we get the Green Arrow there. And Harley is giving us Harley on her issue. And we will get to some more Harley covers in a minute. But before we get there, we still have Marvel's side of things giving us their voices. Their voices Pride covers, including Daredevil, which I don't know what the tie-in is here with Rachel, but Rachel Summers is there with Daredevil. And we have Valkyrie showing up on Jackpot and Black Cat. Okay. And that'll probably wrap us up for the month. But unless there'll be some stragglers, because some of these, variant theme cover months, sometimes books get delayed and we have stragglers. Case in point, Stormbreakers. So, as you all know, the Stormbreakers covers that we've been covering for June have all been those Infinity Stone covers. And I've been whining and complaining about all the confusion all over the color of the stones. But before we can get to that, we have a straggler. That's right, folks. Helverine stumbling in here with those Ghost Rider books from last month. So a little bit late to the party, wrapping up that collection, I guess. So there you go. X-23. I think we even talked about this cover. I put it in a short or something, even though it never came out until today, or this week, I should say. But this month's Stormbreakers are those Infinity Stone covers. So we are getting the Power Gem here with Drax and this new dude down below on Vengeance of Moon Knight? I have no idea how they decide to tie in the books that they're putting these Stormbreakers covers, because there is literally no connection between any of these characters and this cover. But that's what we're getting. Same with this next one, which I got a different bone to pick. Star with Ronin on the Magic the Blood Hunt book. Problem is, wait a second. That looks yellow. But we just did yellow, which was the Mind Stone last week with Moondragon. Okay, maybe it's not yellow, maybe it's a shade of orange, which is the Soul Gem, which we got weeks ago with Adam Warlock. The point being is this supposedly, if you go off of what they say, is the reality gem. But I'm not a smart man, but that shit ain't red. Look, that's not red. It's supposed to be red. That looks pretty red to me with Star. That's can't get any deeper red than that. That's like a Scorsese red. And again, that lines with the stones from the movies, right? That we've been going over, because that's the reality stone. Or was in Thor Dark World, the forget what the hell they called it. Point being, this damn thing's supposed to be red. And that ain't red. Who's okay in this stuff? Where's the colorist? It's not that hard. Color it properly. I know what you're thinking. That probably should have been in this next segment, but it's a good lead-in for our next segment. So we're just going to get right to it, which is...
WTF, Gary? WTF. What the fuck does WTF mean? What the fuck? Oh.
That's right. WTF. And as much as I want to complain and put that not red gem in this segment, there are bigger fish to fry here. Starting off with this. Thanos. I know. It seems like I'm just on a weekly basis picking on Ry Bleifeld and Frank Miller of late, because it's just not good. Come on now. Look at this. This just looks like just taking Marv and you mashed them up with Grimace. And you took the two of them, you squished them together, and boom, we got Thanos. Not only that, a 1 in 200 on this? Who the hell wants this? 1 in 200. It's not selling, mind you, but asking $300 and $350.
You serious, Clark?
I will be shocked and just completely befuddled as to why anybody would pay that amount of money for this cover. It's just not good, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but it's not great. Plus, it's just a floating head. It's like he just didn't even bother to draw the rest of them. Like, I don't care. What does this suit look? I don't care what his suit looks like. We'll just outline some darkness and just put a big purple Grimace face. Great. With that said, we get to bring back another former favorite of this segment, and that is here with this Spider-Man 2099, because what do we have? Our nut shot of the week. Look at that pouch just right there, front and center. Man, we really don't need these Hildebrandt covers anymore, do we? We keep getting them, though, and they keep giving the great nut shots almost week in and week out. Actually, it's been a while, but you get it. I mean, we've had Cap here before. We've had Thanos here before in a similar vein. And if you can't get enough and you find that border distracting, well, you can get yourself a nice virgin version to get all of the glory of that image right there for you. Anyway, leaving that where it is, we got to go back to this. I know I've had this series in here before in the WTF section, because I still don't understand why we have this Winnie the Pooh fighting Bambi. But we have still issue 3 of Winnie the Pooh fighting a cybernetic Bambi, as they both used to be mercenaries, and Is it the revenge? And I don't know, man. I don't know. But what is even more confusing to me is that this isn't even the only crazy ass Winnie the Pooh alternate reality public domain. God, why do we have to ruin things in public domain with this nonsense? I don't know. Maybe you guys enjoy like these horror themed movies. Hey, let's take Winnie the Pooh and make him a horror movie, the Killer and Piglet. I'm not into that. We'll make Little Mermaid. She's now a undersea monster. I think that stuff's dumb. Personally, I just think it's lazy, it's cheap, and it's just taking a known property and just trying to bank and make money off it by taking some stupid ass idea and saying it's unique, because it's not. Case in point, Winnie the Pooh Demon Hunter. Seriously, do we need this? Anybody need this? Did we really need 2 Winnie the Pooh books? With Winnie the Pooh being a demon hunter and an old mercenary? Whatever, man. Demon Hunter aside, we can still get back to our other Winnie the Pooh because, for one reason or another, we can tie it in with Cheesecake Covers. Yes, we can, because there is a Cheesecake cover attached to that Winnie and the Pooh issue 3 fighting Bambi. And that is this issue with a Tigger lady, or at least she's painting Tigger stripes on her, I guess. And if this isn't naughty enough for you, we got a 1 in 20, not suitable for work version, but there's a black bar covering it here. But that black bar will not be on the cover you buy at your shop or wherever you're going to get this little naughty title. Sticking with the Zenoscope side of things, again, this is Zenoscope. We're getting Grimm Fairy Tales. I want to say it's issue 85. Sorry, I forgot to put it in here. But yeah, they're giving us the regular slew of covers that we can enjoy here with Snow White. Yeah, cool. And there is also a 1 in 20 incentive that's a little bit more risque than the prior version. Speaking of these alternate covers that you can get if you want to pay a little bit extra for, Cave Woman is coming out with this issue, which we can show you with the 30th anniversary of Cave Woman. But there are a couple other covers which I cannot show you, and I didn't even bother putting them in the deck. But you can go out there and get them if you're interested, that have a lot of craziness on them. To say that. We're also getting this new series, Hell Witch, apparently. So $9 will get you this cover. And then some of these other covers cost more. I don't know how that works. It's not really incentives. They just literally cost more at the store. And some of those other covers are here. That one in the middle is really cool, and it is still $9. But some of those other covers were like $20 and I think like $30 listed. So if you want to get that risque version, you got to pay a little extra. But with that, we still have more options for you. And like I said, I like that one in the middle. It's pretty solid. But this Niobe Outbreak, whatever this is, out of Antarctic Press. No idea what this title is. It's got like a weird 90s vibe mixed with a Ale Garza, J. Scott Campbell bubblegum pop thing. I don't know. It's a crazy mashup of sorts. Multiple covers here as well. If you're into that, there you go. Get which one you like. One of them is a Randy Green. I know he has a strong following. And then, yeah, so that's what you can get out of Antarctic. Then we could shift on over to Dynamite, who's giving us Sweetie, Candy Vigilante, with this Ivan Dow #3. And then a couple other covers here because, well, it's Dynamite. So they give you not only all these covers, but then there's virgin versions of them, another version. There's a lot of options. But, yeah, so have what you like there. AWA is giving us this all romance You and I book. I dig this cover. It's got that pulp, like that old pulp vibe to it. It's got some fake creases written into it. And I don't know. I dig this. I like the art. I like this cover a lot. There's a couple other covers on this book, but this one just kind of stood out. I think it's really cool. So I did... I think I do have a short drop in that has my 5 top covers of the week. They're just my 5 favorites. There's nothing to do with value or price. It's just the art that I enjoy. And I believe this one's on the list. This made the list. But continuing on with our cheesecake segment, as we're almost done. We do have Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives, issue 3. As we got the lady there who's getting attacked by the creature. This is Tedesco. And then there is a 1 in 25 black and white of this Tedesco, which you can also get. And then there is a whopping 1 in 75 variant as well that you can go and shell out for if you are interested. This book, can't imagine there's going to be a ton of them out there, but early pre-sales are ratio at $75 and $150. There's one listed for right around $90. So it's a little above. We'll see where it falls come the end of the day, but that's where we're at right now. Jackpot and Black Cat, I mentioned them before. The regular cover here is a Noto. Not bad. You can get that. And then we also have a Spider-Gwen issue 2. So Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider issue 2 is coming out. There's a Mark Brooks. There's a few other covers. There's a Villalobos and Megan Hetrick, I believe. And then, again, speak of the devil of delayed connecting theme covers. We have the Black Suit Spider-Man cover for Ghost Spider, which was, 2 months ago. So, geez, this is how delayed this book is. The 40 years of the Black Suit. So this one's finally coming out. But there are also 1 in 25s and a virgin version of that Villalobos for the 1 in 50, which you might want to keep an eye on just in case. That's the type of cover that could do well. Right now, ratio a little bit above, 50 to 70. There's one listed for about 70. See where it goes once the week moves on, but just something to watch, something on the watch list, because there's not a lot here to watch, but there are a few. Wrapping up and moving on, we got Power Girl. So Power Girl is giving us a few. This is a tie into the House of Brainiac storyline. Cover A, I'm not going to say it's a Planet Comics homage, just because anytime you got 2 chicks on a bike, it's a Planet Comics homage. I don't think so. It's just 2 chicks on a bike that has a dragon on it, but still kind of cool. Then there's a couple other covers here as well. Open order variants, no incentives on this Power Girl issue, so pick which one you like. And then getting back to a Harley, we do have a Harley that does kind of fit the cheesecake vibe. So we've already had the Harley that was the Pride Month Harley. We've got, this is the B cover, the Lyrics Lee, that fits the cheesecake segment. But we're going to wrap up with our final segment of the show, which is kind of covers and incentives that I just kind of put together. Because we're going to continue on talking about Harley, because there's yet another Harley cover that I want to talk about, because this one is a fun homage to Batman 442. So this is the cover A. I dig it. I like it. It's pretty good. 1 for 1, sort of homage. Well done. This book has a book that I almost put in the WTF section. That is the 1 in 25 incentive for this book. And you might ask, why would I do such a thing? What is my problem? This is the Chuma Hill cover, which I usually like the Chuma Hill covers. But what is my problem with this cover? Took me a minute. I looked at it, and something was bothering me. And I didn't know what it was till I focused in on the eyes. What's with the wonky eyes? Like, they don't match. They're missized and misshapen. It's just, I get it. She's supposed to be a little crazy, but why are their eyes so different? Like, the red eye's like 1.5 the size of the blue one. I don't know. Anyway, this is out there, and it's not doing much. You can get this for under ratio or way above ratio, which is why I put this here. A copy sold for $12, and a copy sold way, way early for $55. Whoever bought that copy on pre-order for $55 must feel pretty dumb, considering somebody just got one for $12. Meanwhile, copies are available for $15 to $20. Gotta watch those early pre-sales. FOMO can get you, and FOMO can get you, as you can see here. Another random cover that I like is this 1 in 20 on Grimm. I don't even know what issue this is. I want to say it's Grimm issue 18. I have not kept up on this title. I don't know what's going on, and I've not been reading it. I know it's still being kicked out at Boom, but it's just something about this cover. I just really dug all the roses. I thought it was just pretty cool. It's a striking image, so I liked it, so I put it here. 1 in 20. Don't know if it's doing anything on the market. I looked, didn't see anything, so who knows what this might do. I just like the cover. That's all. That's why it's here. Speaking of which, Something Has Killed the Children. I think we're up to issue 38 now. There is a 1 in 25, a Frizzen cover. It's kind of familiar looking, right? Chainsaw again, but hey, still pretty cool. And then there is a 1 in 50, which ain't too bad here either. Neither of which is really going for much, right around ratio. But getting to the point, there is a secret thank you book, this 1 per store unlockable that Boom has been doing. So 1 per store, Something Is Killing the Children 38. So keep an eye out for this. You know, these things a lot of times been the last one, I think, for issue 37 has been going for like $15, 15 to 20. This one had no pre-sales as of yet, but there was one copy listed as of right now. We'll see more as the week goes on, listed for 30. I don't know if it's going to get 30. We'll see if there's more copies coming. They'll probably come in that $15 to $20 range. So if you're friends with your shop owner and you want this, you like to collect these things, you could probably get one for a decent price. Just make friends with your store. And with that all said, I am finally done as my voice is going out on me. Thank you all again for all your support and sticking with the channel. I appreciate all that support, and I hope you will continue to support the channel and keep telling your friends. We can keep not only growing this channel, but growing my new channel. Again, look out in the link below. I'll probably be sending more information out over the next few shows and on the channel in general to go check out Toy Informer. That will be my channel that's devoted to toys, collectibles, and video game stuff. Again, content may be coming out slowly, but it will be coming. So please get in on the ground early and help me grow it out and tell me the kind of stuff you want to see over there. For now, I'm planning to get back to doing those top 10 toys on the occasion. I'm going to try to maybe do the occasional vintage toy market watch. So I can give you similar to what we do with some of the shows here with comics. Well, I'll just do it with toys. And then I'm also looking to do like what's new this week, sort of like a news recap on all the new toy announcements. As we got some stuff announced for like San Diego coming out, San Diego Comic-Con next month. We got some drops of some toys and figures that will be available there. So that kind of thing. So lots of ideas and lots of potential over there. So help me build it. And with that all said, I'll see you all later with some more content. All right.